Hi everyone, I'm oboist and composer Laura Adkins. Welcome to Intro to Extended Techniques. This series of videos goes along with a method book that I wrote called Intro to Extended Techniques for Oboe. It's designed for an intermediate level student, someone who probably has around 3 years of playing and who is interested in getting started in the very first steps of learning extended techniques. No experience necessary. You might be wondering, what is an extended technique? What does that term actually mean? It's not a very cut and dry answer. That term is used differently in different contexts, but I use it in my teaching and in this method book to mean techniques not typically found in standard repertoire or pedagogy, and techniques that are requested more frequently in 20th and 21st century music. The method book introduces 6 techniques, and it's split into 2 main sections. The first one is fingering manipulations. Those techniques are harmonic fingerings, timbral fingerings, and trills, sometimes called bispigliando, and multiphonics. The second section of the book is embouchure and air manipulations. Those techniques are singing while playing, flutter-tongue, and circular breathing. I would recommend that you go through the techniques in the order that they're presented in the method book. You could rearrange them, but I put them in this order specifically so that you start with techniques that are sort of the least stretch from what you already know. They're the closest to how you already know to play the instrument. As you go through each technique, be sure to watch the technique video on my YouTube channel or on my website, lauraadkinsmusic.com, and listen to a recording of the etude. That will really help your understanding of the technique as a whole. For any teachers who might be watching this, maybe you're thinking, how do I know if my student is ready to start learning extended techniques? It's not a totally cut and dry answer, but here are some of the things that I look for in my own students when I'm trying to figure out if they're ready. First, you want to look for physical readiness. They need to have a good setup, a good embouchure, and good air support. Right? This doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to make sure that they understand the foundational principles of these things. I also want to make sure that they are comfortable with the notes from low C, C4, up to a high C sharp 6. Those fingerings are specifically referenced in my method book, so it's helpful if students are already familiar with those notes through that range before we get started. In addition to physical readiness, with my younger students, I also look for cognitive readiness, meaning are they able to understand context? As we talk about extended techniques, different sounds fit better in different contexts, and it's helpful to point this out and start that discussion with a student. An analogy that I sometimes use is patterns of speech, right? The way I talk to my students is not the way I talk to my friends, is not the way I talk to my boss. The way a student talks to their teacher is not the way they talk to their parents, is not the way they talk to their friends. Everybody moves through these different contexts in life, and we can do the same in music. Some things are appropriate for one context and not appropriate for another. If you're still not sure if your student is ready to start working on extended techniques, give it a try. Start with harmonic fingerings and see how they respond. Are they interested? Are they intrigued? Are they curious? Does it seem really overwhelming? Their response can help you judge whether or not to keep going or to wait a little bit longer. Whether you're a student or a teacher or both, I would love to hear about your experience working through this method book, so feel free to leave comments on any of the videos or on this video itself. I do plan to make more techniques videos in the future, and maybe even a volume 2 of the method book covering additional techniques. So be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of the latest videos. Happy practicing!